Yeah, I'll just give a little intro and just thank everyone for joining today. I know we are in tough times right now, and thank you as well, Conscious Capitalism San Diego, for taking me up on the offer to do a little presentation for everyone today around Facebook advertising. So it's a little background as to who we are and what we're going to be talking about. Our organization is called No Typical Moments. We're a California benefit corporation, so we've been living and breathing this space for 8 years now. And so we wanted to share with you, with a lot of stuff shifting to digital, really what is Facebook advertising. Maybe this is something you've been thinking about doing and you wanted to hear at a high level what all is involved. Maybe you've started to tinker around with ads. So we wanted to share roughly a 15 to 20-minute presentation diving into what we think is a really great starting point of the discussion, which is your audiences and what's called a Facebook pixel. And then from there, we really wanted to open this up to any type of question and answer. So if you have any questions, definitely put it in the chat window, and then we'll circle back to it at the end. If you have a campaign and you wanted us to actually dive into it and do a little bit of auditing, we're more than happy to do that. Also, just know that your data would be shared with everyone else here on the call today. So Zach, how about you start off and share your screen, and we can dive right into our presentation to start off the call.
Absolutely. So thank you definitely for having us on. Thank you everyone for showing up. What we're going to do is, as Andrew mentioned, kind of give you that starting point. Like me as an advertiser on Facebook and Instagram, the place that I start with all of my campaigns and all of my accounts and all of my clients is by setting up audiences. You first need to know who you're going to be putting your message in front of before you can start to craft a message and then get that in front of them. You need to know who it is that you're communicating with. So, not really sure we can do a show of hands, but we've been doing these. We've been doing these for a while now, and I've noticed that there's a good portion of people that may not be fully familiar with what a Facebook pixel is or how it actually works within your marketing funnel. So I'm just going to go over that real quick. Now, let's see. Okay, so a pixel is just a line of code. It's like, this is what a general pixel looks like. It's just a code that you get from Facebook, and then you enter it into the global settings of your website. Now, those of you that are getting a little intimidated by this, do not worry. I don't know much about coding at all, and I don't have to. It's literally, most websites these days, they come with a plug and play. Like, they're all very interactive with Facebook. So getting this installed on your website shouldn't be very difficult. And if you're working with a developer, you just give this code to them and they'll know what to do. So one thing to establish, a lot of people don't really get, is the difference between a general pixel and a lead pixel. So how this works is, this is an example of your marketing funnel. You start with Instagram ads and you lead traffic over to, say, if you're doing like a lead campaign, you lead that traffic over to an opt-in page. Now on that opt-in page lives your general pixel, okay? That's just your basic, like, hey, somebody landed here, and it tells Facebook that somebody landed here. You want to make sure that you're tracking all of that. And then say if somebody gets on your opt-in page and opts in and becomes a lead, then they go over to your thank you page. And that's when this pixel, the difference here is the very bottom of this. You see where this says lead? That pixel loads and then fires and tells Facebook, okay, you have a lead. Then if they continue to go down to your funnel, they could go to like a cart page where you would have your add to cart pixel, for example. And then if they continue to go down, they could make a purchase, and then your purchase pixel would fire. So I just wanted to kind of give like an overview of all that before I go into your audience setup, because I've noticed like maybe some people, I feel like these visuals will help you understand what we're going to be going into next.
And I wanted to jump in too, just to explain why you want a pixel. So the term pixel is really a way to track data across different stages of your customer journey, like Zach is sharing here. So the most annoying example is if you've ever been on Expedia.com and you've ever just been flirting around with the idea of booking a trip to Hawaii, like you don't actually want to go to Hawaii, but you just want to see what the plane tickets are going to cost. And next thing you know, everywhere across the internet, you start to visit, you see ads to vacations and hotels for Hawaii. So what Expedia.com did is they pixeled you. So that's a really annoying example of how this can be used. But there's also tons of other examples of, our client projects, and you're about to make a checkout order, but someone doesn't complete that. So the reason could be, and you don't really know what's going on inside your customers' minds, is, put yourself in their shoe. They could be in line at Starbucks, completely checked out of reality, and they're about to make that purchase. They're about to sign up for your lead magnet, but then the barista says they're up next in line, and they get distracted, they get self-conscious, and they check out of their cell phone. If you have a pixel installed, you can show ads to that individual as they're continuing to view the internet, and it really helps to push people over the edge to actually make purchasing decisions. The thing about a pixel, though, is that if this isn't installed at the very beginning, you can't retroactively put this in place. So if you want one tangible thing you can take away from today, it's to put a pixel across your website. So in the future, if you start to run ads, you've already collected all of this data, but you can't go back in time and collect that data. So this is one tangible thing I think everyone should do by the end of this conversation. And like Zach mentioned, it's a very simple line of code to install on your website that you can either find YouTube videos of how to do it, or if you have a website developer, I guarantee they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, and most websites these days make it pretty easy. And just to add to Andrew's point, what you're going to find through this presentation is just how invaluable the Facebook Pixel is for converting people into buyers. Because based on where they land in your funnel, you can serve them very specific ads. So this will make sense here in a few slides. One more thing I want to explain briefly is what a lookalike audience is, because I'm going to be talking about that here in a second. Now, to use this previous slide as an example, everyone that lands on this page, you can set up in the back end of Facebook as a custom audience. So everyone that lands on your lead page is now being tracked, and you can send more messages to them because you have their account data inside the pixel. Now, what you can do is once you have, say, 100 people that have landed on that page, there's a high likelihood that a lot of those people have a few things in common. So what Facebook has rolled out is the ability to take those 100 people that have looked on your page and expand it into other possible customers for your business. So they take the data from those 100 accounts in this example and turn those 100 people into, say, 1 million people that could be interested in your message. So that's the basis of what a lookalike audience is. So now that I've explained that, I want to explain the audiences that we typically set up inside Facebook, and they come in 3 categories: your cold audiences, your warm audiences, and your hot. So your cold audiences would be an example of setting up interest-based audiences. And to do that, I use a tool called Audience Insights, which I'll share with you guys here in a second. And then you can also use lookalike audiences. So as I just explained what a lookalike audience is, you can say you have an email list, you can upload your email list and then create a lookalike audience based on that. So Facebook will go out and find profiles that kind of mirror the same qualities that everyone does on your email list. So that's going to be a pretty good source of an audience for you. You can also like in the example I said before, you can do lead lookalike audiences, add to cart, etc. And then your warm audiences is like straight up your email lists. That always goes into an audience that I market to. People that like your page, these people already kind of like know you and they like you, you know. Video view retargeting audiences. A lot of people starting out may not know this, but Facebook also pixels people that watch a certain percentage of a video. So this is another thing, like if you've ever been on Facebook and you see some video that looks interesting and you watch maybe 75% of it, You could now be, if that person has their audiences tracking you, you could be in their pixel funnel. So then they can serve ads to you based on how much of that video that you watched. And one example that I always give is it's always easier to get 20,000 people to watch an interesting video than it is to get 20,000 people to like a Facebook page. So video view retargeting audiences are very crucial and very easy to build. Like you can, with a pretty minimal budget, build a pretty large video view retargeting audience. So I highly recommend starting with that if you have a small budget. Then lead retargeting, like say people that made that became a lead but maybe didn't purchase. Those people know you and they like you already. They've gone through your content, so that's a great warm audience to target. And then there's your conversion audience. So retargeting, that's all people that have landed on certain pages but maybe didn't perform a specific action. So like people that added to cart but didn't make a purchase, you can put them into an audience. People that converted into leads, as I mentioned. And my personal favorite audience to use that I've seen such a high return on investment for is your purchaser lookalike audience. So not only can you make a lead lookalike audience or an add to cart lookalike audience, you can also make a lookalike audience of everyone that's bought from you. So you're telling Facebook to not only find people that will opt into your offer, but find me a mirror of all of these people that have pulled out their wallet and spent money. And Facebook is great at finding those people if you give them the right data. So purchaser lookalike audience, super awesome. So this is taking them through the steps of getting them to know you, getting to like you, and to trust you. So when I set up in my duties as a Facebook advertiser, I usually set up 4 audiences with each of the campaigns that I launch. And I set up one cold/interest-based audience, so I'm going out to new potential customers. Then I set up lookalike audiences, so those are also new potential customers. And then I do email list, which is bringing people back to whatever my new offer is, and then retargeting. So those are the 4 audiences that I set up with. So here's an example of that in action. This is one of our campaigns that we recently ran for a client, where we ran a self-liquidating offer. So this is an example of the 4 audiences that I have set up. We were doing really great with this. We were getting 34 cents a lead. That is not overly typical, but if your message is right and if your audience is, and if you're getting the message in front of the right people, you can get that kind of result. But I mean, it takes a bit of testing. Now, what I mean by self-liquidating offer essentially is the goal of this campaign was to get leads. We just wanted to get leads that we were going to later retarget with an individual offer. But in order to essentially make money while we had the lead campaign running, we threw an upsell on the thank you page. So when somebody lands on the opt-in page, they opt in, and then right there, as soon as they land on the thank you page after opting in, we have a quick little upsell, and you can have it from $7 up to $50, like a quick little tripwire product that if enough people opt in, you're essentially building leads for free. And if you can make that overly profitable, you're getting paid to fill your funnel with leads and to grow your email list. So that's a strategy that I recommend to a lot of people. If you have the content and if you have the offers, try throwing in a tripwire on your thank you page so that you can do a self-liquidating lead funnel. We spent $319 and we made $500 with $574. So I mean, just perfect example of getting paid to make leads. So the leads are paying for themselves.
And I'll give an example of how this potentially could be applicable. I'll give the example of let's say you're a speaker and your main form of revenue has been delivering talks in person, and you've been transferring your content into some online courses and program. So how this would be applicable to you if that's your space is what Zach's talking about, is that you would run a Facebook ad for some type of free offer, let's say your thing is sales. So you would run a lead generation campaign on Facebook for a free sales script. What would then happen is right after someone opts in for that sales script on the thank you page, they would receive a upsell offer. And usually see these offers for under $50. So a great kind of upsell offer could be an objection handling playbook for $40 or something. So your intention here is really to just break even on your ad spend. That's considered a success here, as you're developing leads for free if you do this correctly. And like Zach mentioned, it then opens up the door to introduce higher tier offers and products. And you're also, from a psychology standpoint, starting to train your audience to take you up on smaller tier offers. So definitely, if you're introing into this space, this is a really great way to start to test out your campaigns, your audiences, your offers, and build it out from here.
Right. And to that point, I would also say you're not only training your audience to like maybe get used to pulling out their wallet and trusting you with their money, you're also teaching the Facebook pixel. Now the Facebook pixel works off an algorithm. So the more that you give it of the conversion that you set, say it is leads or purchases or whatever your conversion is, the more of those you get, the more it finds out, okay, this is, it like hones in on the idea of who you're actually after. So the more people you can get to make even a micro purchase with you, you're teaching Facebook who to find. So it's a win-win-win. As I mentioned, when building cold audiences, there's a tool called Facebook Audience Insights. Now, it's free. If you just Google Facebook Audience Insights, this will come up. This is an example of the interface. So right down here, you have a little search button, and you can put in age, you can put in location, and like you can get very granular on the things that you're targeting. So right in here, you would put an interest in. So organic was the example in this. And right here, it tells you all of the things about this. Like normally it starts with demographics, but for the reason of this, for the example here in this slide, I always use the feature page likes, because when I'm building a interest-based audience, I may not necessarily know all of the pages that my target customer is interested in. We get clients from a multitude of backgrounds. So sometimes this is part of my market research. Like, okay, so somebody that likes organic, what other stuff are they interested in? Okay, cool. Look at this. Organic, nonprofit organizations. These are some of the demographics. And these right here are the pages that they like. Okay, cool. So organic cup, never heard of that. Cool. I'll throw that in my audience to target. Veggie shake, never heard of that. I'll throw that in my audience to target. This is just basically like the cheat code for how to build your very first audience, which is your interest-based and awareness audience. So I highly recommend you use this tool and go back to it as often as possible. You use this to drive traffic to a landing page, to get leads, build your email list, upload that email list, create a lookalike audience. Like it all starts from your cold audience, okay? So like this is how you launch everything and build it from there. So as I mentioned, the Facebook pixel is something that has to go through a learning process. So when you launch an ad set, what you're going to see in the back end of Facebook is it's going to say learning phase next to the ad set that you've launched. Now, in order to exit the learning phase, this is what the slide is about. I'll explain. So the learning phase, Facebook uses its algorithm to find users that are likely to opt into your offer. To do this, each new ad set or audience goes into a learning phase after launching. To exit the learning phase, the algorithm needs to see 50 conversions in a 7-day period. If your ads do not exit the learning phase, the problem is either your ads or your offer page. Make adjustments. These are the tools that you use to find out where the bottleneck is in your funnel and what needs to be improved. Ad sets that do not exit the learning phase will see higher CPMs and less reach. CPM in this case stands for cost per 1,000 impressions. So Facebook's job is to put good content in front of its audience. Otherwise, nobody would be going on Facebook. So if your ads aren't getting 50 conversions of whatever conversion metric that you set, be it leads, engagement, purchases, add to cart, if you're not getting 50 of whatever that conversion is in a 7-day period, it's going to think your content sucks. and it's going to start not showing it to people. And in turn, that's going to raise your cost for getting your ad in front of people. So that's why we definitely recommend putting out good content in front of the right people so that you can exit that learning phase as quickly as possible and move into the next step. So this is how I personally teach the Pixel when I'm working with a new client. I usually set up with a cold audience, and as I mentioned in the previous slides, start with a cold audience using audience insights, drive traffic, get leads into an email list, and then as soon as I have like 100 people in there, I'll create an email list lookalike audience. Now this audience is just kind of always ongoing, testing new creative, building the email list, teaching the Pixel who I'm after. It's kind of like an evergreen ad set that's going. And then once I get 50 leads in a week, and I've taught the Pixel who the leads are that I'm after, I create a lead lookalike audience. And then I start that into an ad set, and then that goes into a learning phase, and then that has to get 50 in 7 days. And like you can mix and match webinar viewer. Like if you don't have a webinar, it could be you could go straight to add to cart. You know, you're just going down the next most valuable conversion. So you can start at like a very easy conversion to get 50 of within 7 days is engagement. That's an example of a conversion campaign that you can run where you just want 50 likes in a week. Super easy. I would say, like, if you're having trouble getting those first 50 conversions, go back a step to like an engagement campaign, and then move to leads, and then move to webinar views or add to cart, because you're automatically going to get less traffic. Like if you're getting leads, you're going to get less traffic to your add to cart page. That's just how a funnel works. It shaves off the people that wouldn't be interested anyway and really focuses down people that really want your offer. So once you're getting 50 leads a week, you can change it. Okay, cool. Now I want you to convert 50 add to carts a week. And that's how I'm like training it. Okay, cool. Now that we got that, let's move it to that step. And then once I'm getting 50 add to carts a week, my purchases are going to go up because that many more people are seeing my add to cart page. And just as the funnel works, it trickles down the actual buyers. And then once I'm getting, a fair amount of purchases, I'll switch it to straight purchases. I want you to just get me 50 purchases a week. Now, if you're selling a high ticket course, like in coaching, for example, where it's like, several $1,000s, getting 50 conversions a week could be hard unless you have a super high ad spend. It's all in the return on ad spend here. But once you get up to like 100 purchases of people that have like landed on your purchase page, the Pixel fires, and now Facebook like kind of learns who it is that actually buys your product, I create a purchaser lookalike audience, and boom, I'm off to the races. So hopefully that makes sense. One quick step that we do to help with conversions, as I mentioned before, you can do an engagement ad. So this is a strategy called social proofing your ads. Now, the example on the left is just a brand new post, brand new ad. Hasn't been shown to anybody. It's got no likes, it's got no comments, no shares, nothing. But then this ad on the right is an ad that's been launched before, the ad that's got a little bit of social proofing on it. It's got all these likes, all these comments, all these shares. Now, how you can actually game this, you can totally make this happen. You can, if you have an email list or a warm audience like page likers, people that have interacted with your brand before, video view retargeting, you can write an ad, do an ad with the image, the headline, the copy, and send that ad specifically out to people that already know and like you. So you send that ad out to your email list. You send that ad out to your page likers or your video view retargeting. Then that will pretty much, if you've developed a relationship with this audience, they'll start engaging with your post. Then as soon as you have a fair amount of engagement on it, you can take that exact ad, copy the ID on it, and set it up and put it into a new ad set that's going strictly out to new customers. So that's something that we see a pretty big ROI on. I mean, it's like, think to yourself, like, which one of these would you click on? This one tells me like, okay, these guys are serious. People already like and trust them. Maybe I should too. So that's kind of my presentation. I feel like I went a little fast. Hopefully, I didn't go too fast. But yeah, I can explain anything if you guys have a question.
And if you do have questions, I would say if you want to put them in the chat window, then we can go one at a time for whoever wants us to really go through whatever, whether you have a campaign, like I mentioned, and you want us to take a look at what you have going on and do a quick audit for you, whether you just have a question you want us to go back into from Zach's talk, we're more than open to however we can support everyone today.
Andrew or Zach, maybe it might be helpful to kind of talk about like what you've been seeing with Facebook and Instagram ads nowadays, with, you know, the situation of businesses being limited to only online, or you know, events being canceled and things like that. Like what is the activity like on Facebook and Instagram? How has the landscape for ads changed? And any tips on messaging and, you know, engaging with customers and prospects?
Sure, I can give a couple of thoughts, and then Zach, if you want to add in anything. So right now we're seeing the CPMs, which Zach mentioned in the presentation, cost per 1,000 impressions, really at all-time low levels. So the reason being is that there's less competition right now. There's literally less organizations functioning and advertising on Facebook. And then simultaneously, we're all locked inside of our bedrooms with nothing to do but scroll through Facebook all day. So it is creating kind of this perfect storm of ways to start to dive into Facebook ads, as the costs are going to be extremely low for businesses. What we're seeing with some of our clients is definitely a shifting of positioning. We're not recommending any of our clients run advertising campaigns specifically mentioning COVID-19 or Corona. But example of one of our clients, he's more of a growth consultant for organizations. And so his thing before was more around how to build your company to X level of revenue. But if you really think about where people's minds are right now, it's not necessarily about how to grow my organization. It's much more, how do I just even, you know, survive through the next couple of months and ride this out. So his positioning has shifted much more into how do you crisis proof your organization. So I think about that in terms of your positioning. How is your product, service, whatever that looks like? How is it positioned in the marketplace right now? Also looking at what you're marketing. Is it a luxury good or something that's more a necessary product? We tend to be more in the online education space, which I believe is almost a hybrid of the two, where you don't have to have education. So it's not a necessary good like food or water or gas, but at the same time, it's not a luxury good like going to a concert as well. So we did definitely an analysis of where we're stacking up in the marketplace and trying to adjust our positioning, and definitely as well recommending our clients to focus in on more lower tier pricing options at the moment, not discounting options, but focusing more on your products that may be a little bit less expensive at the moment and focusing in on building your list. Zach, do you want to add in anything on top of that?
Yeah, no, just to echo what Andrew is saying, right now we're seeing the cheapest cost per 1,000 impressions that I may have ever seen. It's at least 50% cheaper than normal. And because of that perfect storm that Andrew mentioned, you know, a lot of advertisers that advertise businesses that require physical people to come to their business just aren't advertising. Plus the everyone being at home and being in front of the computer. Right now, we're seeing prices that at a future date we will miss. You know, like, boy, remember back in 2020 when you could get your message in front of 1,000 people for $6? Like, wow, that is not typical. So right now is a great time to be online advertising. And as far as event companies, what a lot of our clients are doing is doing online summits. So essentially just kind of like a Zoom call like this, but advertising it and getting people to opt in, growing their list, and even charging a nominal fee. So a lot of people are just moving to online events.
Okay, great. I see we have some questions that came up in the chat window. I don't know how you guys want to conquer those, but
Yeah, does Parker want to, if he's still on, do you want to put yourself off mute, Parker, and ask your question? Or it looks like you're still on mute, Parker.
Mute. There we go. Yeah, especially with the focus with conscious capitalism and all the incredible things that they're doing with the bottom line, not only with companies, but for social good, for the community. A lot of folks are wondering, thinking, okay, yep, there's a lot of information about small business and using social media, but can you give an example, or how would this work, say, for a nonprofit organization that is trying to switch to more online advertising? Because they may not have anything to purchase, but it's a donation. But it seems like the content and the strategy could be the same, and tracking the donations would be the same as tracking a purchase. So is that kind of close?
Yeah, absolutely. If no matter what your online funnel is, you can track it with a Facebook pixel, pretty much. If there's a platform right now that doesn't communicate with the Facebook pixel, it's outdated and people shouldn't be using it. Like you have to be like industry standard right now, is you have to communicate with Facebook pixel, Google. So all of these things in an online funnel you can apply to any vertical, any business model. But like specifically relating to charity, to nonprofit, I would imagine like list building, increase like community building, which is something you can easily do right now. Just start with a value offer. We have a client that's doing educational content in that realm, so that could be an option. Like we are living in the golden age of content, so like just creating more of it to increase your brand awareness is a great thing. And especially given that CPMs are so cheap right now, getting your brand with the right little bit of content in front of 1,000 people could be as cheap as $6. So
one other thing I want to add in, Parker, is a great resource to check out. It's called Facebook Ads Library. So if you just did a Google search of Facebook Ads Library, what this allows you to do is if you type in any of your competitors or other big nonprofit organizations, you can see all ads currently run by pretty much any business within Facebook. So if you want to, just do some due diligence and competitor analysis, I would recommend Facebook Ads Library, and that will pretty much just open up the secrets per se of what other people are doing, and then you can just replicate that.
Right. Wow. Like, would there be an example? Right. Would there be an example business? Like you can search it right here. So this is the Facebook Ads Library. Whoever your competitor is, whoever you're interested in seeing, you type it in there, and it'll pop up all of their active ads. So you can get a snapshot of what other people in the market are doing. We use this tool with every go-to-market report. So very, very useful tool.
Awesome suggestion. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
How does the Facebook methodology that you're talking about compare with a direct mail campaign that would be to targeted recipients, and using that as a mechanism for building traffic to your website or building your email list?
So my first thought is just ease. Like I could launch an ad set, and again get it in front of 1,000 people for like $6, which is like kind of the cost right now. As compared to the overhead that it would take to send out 1,000 letters Because like everyone's on Facebook and Instagram, pretty much everyone. So it's never been easier to get a message in front of that many people. Plus, tracking is a lot easier. If you're doing direct mail with direct marketing, you would want, like, in order to know that your direct mail campaign is working, you would need people to perform a certain action, like go to a website and enter a coupon code or something. And then however many people entered that coupon code, that's how many people from the letters are responding, and that's your conversion rate for the letters. However, using Facebook and Instagram and online advertising, all I have to do is put a pixel somewhere and someone just lands on that page. It's very passive. Someone just lands on that page and that directly tells me this message is working, do more of this.
Wouldn't that be like respondents coming to a landing page?
You could send respondents to a landing page that has, like, say the URL in the direct mail is unique, and the only way anyone could land on that is if they read it from this letter. So you could track that. Yeah, like if someone lands on a landing page that's listed in the direct mail, you could definitely track that. I imagine it would be a little slower, and it does require a lot of action on the recipient. Like, okay, I have to read this, go over to my computer and enter in this URL versus just clicking an ad that I see and then going over to the page. I feel like the depends on demographic, age, location. Direct mail can totally work. I think it works really well, like in the real estate industry for motivated seller leads. So it really just depends on what you're marketing.
Okay, thanks.
Katie Stokes, is she around?
Yes, hi, I'm here. I posted an example of a campaign that we launched today with I guess what we call a warm list, the group of people that subscribe to our free company newsletter that goes out once a month. And I know we don't have a lot of time, but it's just an example of how we're experimenting. And as I say, I realize I can learn a lot about how we might be able to leverage all of the work we put into this campaign with the kind of approach you're talking about on Facebook. So this is really promising. I have to learn more.
Awesome. Were you wanting us to take a look at this? I see that there's a URL in there.
Yeah, please, if you'd like. That's the link.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. So how would somebody land on this page?
So we sent out, through MailChimp, we sent out a targeted message this morning to that, it's a 4,600 person list of our regular monthly newsletter subscribers. And it's just the beginning of the way that we'll promote this campaign. It's, as I said in my notes, it's the first time we will have done content that you have to pay for in any way. So it's an experiment. And but I feel like our team, one of the things we do best is create really compelling content that's presented beautifully. And so I just conceived of this idea a few weeks ago of creating a weekly digital magazine that would bring together the information that San Diego County companies want to put out there about what they're offering now, and bring together all of us as local residents with the information that we need about where to get good local fresh healthy food. So creating a digital magazine that's the biggest membership benefit, and then basically just putting it in a direct way. I wouldn't talk about it this way with just anyone, but basically selling the membership campaign on both sides, both to businesses and to individual members.
Okay. So this is awesome. This looks great. Like for a blog post, this looks fantastic. Like great imagery. I'm sure there's some great information in there. Like my professor cap going on, and I'm just saying, like, I would point to this with a ruler. Facebook, you can get this add-on, Facebook Pixel Helper. I'm seeing that there isn't a pixel on this page. Do you guys have you added one yet or no?
Yes, there is not. This is all this is new to me, this whole idea. I have to do some quick studying up.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm glad you're here then, because like you definitely want to get a Facebook Pixel on here so that whenever you're ready to launch a Facebook campaign, you already have audience people that have been to this page, because you're not tracking anything right now. And as Andrew mentioned, you can't get that back. There's no retroactive after the day that the Pixel is installed. That's the day it starts tracking.
Okay, great. Get right on.
And something that I highly recommend, something that we do in our campaigns, is if we're going to send out an email, we also launch something on Facebook so that we're hitting people on multiple fronts. We're staying very visible, and that builds trust if the content is good.
Right.
So if we're going to be like, if we send out an email and then a number of that traffic lands on this page, they go into a retargeting bucket that then next time they open up Facebook, there's a message reminding them about this thing. And if this was, say, like an offer page, like a heavy offer page, they may land on it from the email like, I don't have time right now. And then Facebook's there, boop, remember this? Like,
right.
And
Reinforcement.
that's how you essentially just don't leave any money on the table. Like if there's people that would otherwise have opted in, make sure you get them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I also, Katie, added in a link to check out. It's called Digital Marketer.
Okay.
If you are doing some research on digital, I think this has some of the best content you're going to find.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and one thing else, for anyone on the call, Digital Marketer right now, because of the crisis going on, is very charitably offering all of their training for 100% free. Like they have an entire digital laboratory of content that's been filling up for years and years, and all of it is 100% free right now. So if like you want to just fill your brain with all of the training stuff that they have, go check them out. Like I have a membership in their free stuff right now, and I'm just going through and refreshing on everything. It's great.
I actually had a question. So in terms of the targeting, I saw that you were pulling up pages that people liked. Was that like actual like Facebook pages or more like interest groups?
So it's either or. Let me I got this
Because I thought for some reason you couldn't target pages that you didn't control.
Oh no, you can. You 100% can, and I recommend that you do, because like somebody that likes Colgate toothpaste, I don't know why you would like that on Facebook, but like as an example, like if somebody likes Colgate, they may also be interested in Crest. You know, they're obviously interested in mouth care, so it's highly recommended that you target based on page likes. You know, because someone who likes their stuff, and like that's how kind of you create your customer avatar. So here we are in Audience Insights, and I'll just give you like a crash course here. So anyone have an example of a vertical or business model? We can throw in anything. Let's say
Someone said craft beer.
craft beer. Yes. My kind of search. Okay, craft beer. So there's all kinds of options. So many. Seriously, craft beer is just one. You know, there's Great Tasting Craft. There's all this stuff we can put in. But if we're just going for like a quick, let's snapshot the market, give as wide a net as possible, we'll just put in craft beer. All right. Wait, how did it do? Okay. I don't know what it is. Okay, so now that's loaded in. And I can put dozens of interests in here to really like hone down on who we're interested in. But let's just say like wide net craft beer. So it tells me here, 28% of the people interested in craft beer, women, 72% men. not a big surprise. So here's like their job title. So veteran, right there. If I'm building a interest-based awareness audience, I would go up here and put cool veterans, protective services, cleaning and maintenance. Like these are all their job titles. And guess what? You can put that in here. And now I just kind of like gave it a little bit more specificity, you know? So if I'm interested in veterans that are interested in craft beer, wow, how many people? So right here, 15 to 20 million people in the US alone. That seems like a interesting audience to target. That's a great place to start. Let's go with veterans who like beer. So all of these things I can target, which is cool. This tells me their relationship status, education level, which I can also target. It's very granular. I can also target education level, relationship status. I get excited just talking about all the possibilities that you can target. But so that's demographics. But one page that if I'm creating this audience, I don't know the pages that these people like. I'm not specifically in that market, although, you know, I'm a fan. I would go over here to page likes, and let's look at what kind of pages. Veteran Advantage, never heard of that. Maybe I should throw that in there. We Are the Mighty, like so many of these things that I've never heard of. And you can go see more, and the list goes on and on. Looks like, yeah. Anyway, so all of these are the pages that you can throw into your interest-based audience. And if you want to save it, you just go over here, save, boom, and now it's in your ads manager for you to use as an audience to target. So, pretty powerful tool. I'll tell you that.
What about groups?
Okay, so that's one thing that I only know this because I have a Russian friend who also does Facebook marketing, and he uses the Russian version of Facebook, which is something called VK. And in that, you can target actual Facebook groups down to like a single person. Facebook does not allow you to target groups, not as of yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks.
That would be cool, though. I'm thirsty. Yeah, I get that. So another like online education, that's a bit vague. Sure. This is a page anyone can have access to. Check out. Yes, 100%. Just Google Audience Insights, and it'll already know you mean Facebook. So like the first link that pops up will be Facebook Audience Insights, and it's a tool that everyone can use. It's like the cheat codes. Okay, let me see. It's here. People the higher ability to buy. So check this out. Let's like I would say like that's why I like the purchaser lookalike audience. The question was, is there any way to target people with a higher ability to buy? That's why I like purchaser lookalike audience, because that's a lookalike, a mirror account of all these people that already bought. Like that's your customized built up that you, through your own building of teaching the pixel, taught that pixel who is most likely to buy your products. That's why that purchaser lookalike, it's a little harder to build up to, but it's a great ROI. But one thing is you can also target by demographics in here. Check this out. I'm about to blow some socks off. Income. Household income, like it's kind of cut off right here. But that's like household income, top 25 in the US, top 10% in the US. Like, so here, like I put it in. Household income, 25 to 50% of US zip codes. So how it tells that is like La Jolla, for example, is a pretty high income zip code area. So it just like, boom, it can target based on that. So that's how you can target and it's not just in La Jolla, it's all of the rich zip codes in the US. So you can target by that, and and there's different levels of it. Like you can target lower income, higher income, just based on a percentage that's that right there. So have fun with that. Sweet, thank you. Wow, yeah, pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. So I'm an online drum instructor as well as Facebook advertiser. So I get what you mean by um, the online music education. Something that worked for me is I found out specific educators that already had a following. So an example of that for drum education, and when I was trying to reach drummers, Jared Falk is he's the CEO of a company called Drumeo, and I can target people that like Drumeo. I can target people that like Jared Falk, because those are both education-based pages. Like if you like this page, you obviously like drum education. So I would encourage you to do the research to find those specific people that if someone likes that page, you can know that they like learning guitar. Or if someone likes this page, you can know that they like learning bass or pottery or whatever it is, honestly. So I think like people that educate, especially if you have an educational product, find other people that educate and target their followers.
Can I ask you another more specific question?
Sure.
Thanks, guys, by the way. It's been really, really cool so far. My name's Evelyn, and I guess I teach piano online now.
Cool.
And I launched a new group sing-along class for children. And a lot of parents asked me if they could pay for it, which I think it's a great thing, but I haven't offered them a way to pay me. And so I was thinking a couple of different ways to do it. Like one is through some sort of like a charitable donation that other people can pitch into so that they can help other children to have this class. So like they pay for families who cannot afford it. And as along with their own children who want to be a part of this. And then, or I should just sell it as a course that people can pay like one or a bundle at a time. Wasn't sure if I would do like two of it together or just like one, like just pick one and then let them choose to do it or not.
So something in my experience around that is I've personally experienced this is like once enough people start asking you if they can pay you money, your first couple of times are like, oh no, I don't have something. But once like 5 to 10 people, your answer kind of needs to start being yes, because that's market proofing the fact that there is a demand for what you're offering. Mm-hmm. So I would say if you can throw a course together, great. If you can do online paid Skype lessons, that's great too. One way, like if you're just getting organic traffic, like recommendations from other people that are taking your training, mm-hmm. That's a limited field, but like I definitely recommend your answer being yes on whether or not people can like pay you. If you have any kind of offer, it's pretty easy to create. There's all kinds of digital marketer right now has like how to build a course, like there's all kinds of trainings on how to build a course. But if you really wanted to reach a mass market, what I did, I went on YouTube and I created a channel. And YouTube is a database. YouTube is one of my absolute favorite platforms. I think it's doing humanitarian things for the people every day. I mean, it's a database of such knowledge that everything you want, you can learn on YouTube. So I would recommend looking into creating a YouTube channel if you want to reach a bigger audience.
Okay. So you're suggesting I offer this for a paid like participation, and then also I guess opening up an option for people just to pitch in just because they support the cause. Right.
So you want to have, if that's the case, I'm guessing, do you have a payment gateway or an online payment system set up in any way?
Right now I'm getting Stripe set up.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
Yet,
so PayPal's fine. People can Venmo you. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people use the pay what you want idea. Mm-hmm. And it's basically like if people can pay, great. It's like suggested donation. So in order for that, I would just like, if people want to pay you or if you want to sell something, just have a website up. You don't even have to, if you're just looking at doing organic, have a quick little funnel to where it's just like simple page where someone can pay you. The payment, you get a little notification, payment comes in, they get to a thank you page, and then an email automatically goes out from MailChimp or whatever with whatever they paid for, or contact. It's a pretty simple like 2-step 2-page process that would be pretty easy to set up, that you would just want to have in place just in case.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Good questions.
Anyone else have something? We have a couple more minutes.
Andrew,
I'm going to just add in that if a question does arise later, I'll just throw in my email address here in the chat. So feel free to send over an email as well. So I know we're coming up on the hour and we all have new stuff to shift into or catch up on eating some lunch. Is the recording going to be available? I didn't even know this was being recorded.
Yes, it is being recorded, and it will be. I need to kind of circle with the team on how soon it'll be available, but definitely in a day or two, I would say. So we'll send something out to everyone to let you guys know.
Perfect. Well, I just want to say before we wrap up, thank you, Conscious Capitalism San Diego, for having Zach and I on. And thank you, everyone, for jumping in at whatever point in time during the recording you're here for. And we both definitely hope that this was supportive and beneficial. And you learned a couple of good takeaways getting that Pixel installed. And like I mentioned, if you are going to continue your education, like the woman a couple minutes ago, I definitely recommend checking out Digital Marketer. I'll post that again in the chat window. That's a really great organization and content source of learning about this space. And they really have nonstop content coming out between their videos, and their big conference is always in San Diego. It's going to be December. They rescheduled it. So if you start to dive down the rabbit hole of digital marketing, I would recommend checking out their conference next December in San Diego.
Nice. Awesome. And I'd encourage everyone, if you're having trouble in terms of like how you want to frame your content or where you want to start, like, don't be afraid to talk to your fans, your existing customer base, and see what they're going through and what they need and how they feel, and work from there to build out content to reach people that new people that you haven't engaged with yet. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you again in another program, and we'll have this available in a recording for everyone fairly soon. Thanks all.